Well, we are in really interesting times, and there are a lot of changes going on, and some of it feels a little uncomfortable. Some of it we're a bit unsure about. So I wanted to share today. I've been reading a book called "Birthing the Nation of Gaia," and the author is Sharif Abdullah, and he's talking about how we create a world that actually would work for the highest and best good of all of humanity. And the way we're living right now, it's sort of, we're living from the idea of our own self. It's like, what's in the best interest of me, as opposed to what's in the best interest of we. So he shares in the book 10 principles of universal spirituality. And these are ones that I think are rules that we should consider living by. And I'm just going to go through them quickly, and then I'll break them down a bit. The first is, thou shalt love and be loved. Yeah, we could all go for that, right? The second one, thou shalt be at peace. So whatever's going on, I'm choosing to look at it from a peaceful place. Thou shalt be of compassionate service. Yeah, that sounds good. Number 4, thou shalt forgive. Number 5, thou shalt be humble. Number 6, thou shalt be inclusive. 7, thou shalt be authentic. 9, thou shalt be responsible. Oops, I forgot 8. Thou shalt be grateful. And number 10, thou shalt awaken. So birthing a more mature human society requires that we begin to do things in a different way than maybe what we have. Instead of worrying about competition, we work in collaboration. Instead of doing things individually, we create community. And we find ways to be together that allow us to share these 10 basic ideas. Now, all of these are available to every one of us. We don't need a certain degree to get it, or a certain type of job, or a basic income. All we need is to really honor the self that we were born to be. Now, here at CSL on the Lake, we believe that each and every one of us comes into this lifetime unique and special. We all have something that we do, or something that we have that we do in a way that no one else can do it. So whatever it is that you're here to do or to bring, it's up to you to do it, because no one else on the planet is equipped quite the way you are. Not sure if you knew that about yourself. You're the one. So thou shalt love and be loved. You know, I think sometimes we get a little bit confused around the energy of love and what it means. And for me, I like to think of it as full-on acceptance, right? That if I really, really love, I'm doing it more from that, not from an emotion, but from a quality of being, which means I accept you as you are, where you are. How's that? Just to be loved as you are. You don't have to put on any special act. You don't have to wear your makeup just right, wear the right clothes. You don't have to have the right initials at the end of your name or in front of it. But just being you is sufficient for you to be lovable. And so we change the way we look at this idea of love, and we see it as a quality of God. That energy or vibration is what we bring to everything we do. The second one, thou shalt be at peace. Now, peace isn't something that happens because for a change, every single thing went right. I mean, that would be nice. Peace is my choice to be peaceful, even in the midst of confusion or chaos or whatever's going on around me. Choosing to be peaceful, choosing to be with what is, See, the thing is, what is. It's already been created, so it can't be changed. And what happens, sometimes whatever's going on, we don't like it very much, so we're trying to force it to go away. But whatever you resist will persist. So for me, the idea of peace is a choice I make moment by moment, regardless of what's happening. I choose to look at it from a peaceful place, from a place of love and acceptance. It is what it is. And I know that by being peaceful and loving, I create an energy that moving forward will create new experiences, and probably ones that are more positive and powerful. All right, number 3 is be of compassionate service. This is very different from competition. This is where we choose to be with one another and for one another, regardless of what's happening around us, regardless of whether or not we feel that we're deserving of something more or something different. But instead, we choose to be in service to life. We're in service to the people around us. If we see someone that has a need, we step up and do what we can. We allow ourselves to be compassionate, and, we practice random acts of kindness and senseless beauty. Wouldn't that be wonderful to live in a world like that? See, for me, I want to live in a world where we're improving, that we're expanding, that we're creating harmony and joy. That's the world I want to live in. And in order for me to live in that world, I have to start where I am, right here. It starts with me. I have to choose to show up in the way that I want the world to be. Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And so these are the qualities that we need to be in order to produce a world that is positive and productive and powerful. All right. Number 4, forgiveness. Don't you just love forgiveness? Forgiveness is that opportunity to let go of the past, to move into the current moment without bringing forward whatever has caused you harm or harm you've done in the past, but moving forward in a place of surrender, moving forward in a place of, what can I do today so as not to repeat the mistakes of yesterday? And forgiveness is about giving yourself love, giving yourself space to be, letting go of the past, using, a great big bolt cutter to cut that chain that's holding the past to you, and standing instead in this now moment going, there's nothing for me to regret, to resent. There's a life to be lived, and I'm going to live it in a place that is positive and powerful and productive, rather than blaming or coming from guilt or shame. Resentment, somebody once said that resentment is like drinking poison, but expecting someone else to die. It doesn't quite work, does it? When we don't forgive, we actually harm ourselves, nobody else. So it's time for us to let go of the past. Number 5, thou shalt be humble. That idea of being present in life, being available in life, not to put yourself out and above the rest of the crowd, but to acknowledge that you're one with everything, that each person that we come in contact is some aspect of who we are, that there's not them and us, there's only one thing, and we're all a part of it. And so practicing humility is really easy because we're all in the same place. Thou shalt be inclusive. This one's a little bit tougher. This is a little bit tougher. It's easy to say, let's be inclusive, but then it comes to the practicality of it. So what does it actually mean? Well, here at CSL, we talk about being a global ministry, but all of the hours that we offer, all of our services happen to fall in our time zones. So if you live in Australia or you live in Africa or England or wherever, you'll find that the hours might not work for you in the same way that they work for us. It's a little thing. Inclusive means no matter what's going on, I'm going to share my space with whoever's there. I remember my daughter telling me one time that, in riding the subway, if a homeless person sat beside her or somebody who maybe hadn't bathed in a while, she would never get up and move because that would be disrespectful. And I thought, wow, okay, well, that's being inclusive. She's honoring the person beside her, whether she's comfortable or not. And I think there's something to be said about that. But again, we want to make sure that we're not diminishing ourselves for someone else. But I think in the case that she shared, it made sense. To get up and move when somebody sits beside you because you don't like them, or you don't like the way they're dressed, or whatever it is you don't like about them, that's highly disrespectful. And being inclusive means we open wide the doors for everyone. And we don't necessarily like everyone, but we can love them. Love is about acceptance of what is. It's about discovering each other, learning about each other. Inclusivity is a willingness to have a conversation with another person in the hopes that you will come to see yourself in them or see some sort of similarity, some place where you can meet or not. And sometimes we meet people that we don't fully connect with, but that doesn't mean we have to ignore them. We can still discover their habits, their things that they love. We can be interested. Inclusivity might require some discomfort on our part on occasion. Are we willing to be uncomfortable in order for the people that we share this planet with to be comfortable? Food for thought. Food for thought. All right. Number 7, thou shalt be authentic. And this is another one that's difficult for us because we were raised in families where there were expectations of us, which may or may not have been in alignment with who we really are. Now, when we come into life, we come in unique and special. We come in as our true, authentic self. But then what happens through our childhood years, we're told if we do something that is acceptable to the adults around us, then we're a good girl or a good boy. If we do something that's unacceptable, now we're a bad person. So, what does that do? Well, what that does is it causes me in my small mind as a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old to go, oh, if I do this, I get a pat on the back, but if I do this, I get a spanking. Okay, let me do more of this. And then from then on, what I do throughout my life is every time I meet somebody in my mind, I'm going, okay, how do I need to behave in order to be acceptable, to be liked, to be approved of? Well, all of a sudden, the authentic self is tossed by the wayside because we're trying to figure out who to be in order to be loved. And that's a big one for us, where we have to let that go. We have to let it go and just choose instead to remember who we really are, to listen to the thoughts running around in our mind. Are they mine or are they ones that somebody gave me? The beliefs that I hold, are they my beliefs, or has somebody convinced me that this is the right way to do things? Food for thought. Food for thought. Today is just Food for thought. We're talking about a brand new day. How do we create a new day? Well, we do something different. All right. Number 8, thou shalt be grateful. Meister Eckhart, a 15th century monk, said, you know, if your only prayer ever was a prayer of gratitude, it would be sufficient. And I agree that that attitude of gratitude really does pave the road for us to experience life in a really positive and remarkable way. Each one of us has the ability to really pay attention to what we have rather than what we don't have, to focus on the things that bring us joy and happiness, fulfillment, rather than focusing on what we think is wrong. And, you know, recently I was in Kenya and I was sick when I was there, but what was interesting was I was treated so well by the staff of the hotel and our drivers that there was no point where I wasn't incredibly grateful for just the love that was shared and the kindness that was shared and all the people around me and how joyful they were. Like I really had fun meeting people that were new to me and finding out about their lives and about the country more. It was really a powerful and positive experience. Being grateful really does change things up. All right, number 9. This is always a fun one. Thou shalt be responsible. Ouch. Every single thing in our life, in some way or another, has been created by us or in harmony with us. And sometimes it's really easy to blame other people for everything that's going on. You know, it's your fault you made me angry. It's your fault you stepped on my toe. It's your fault you did this, or, you know, we'll find ways to blame. But what if we just take responsibility and sit back and go, you know what? I'm here. I'm part of the situation. And I remember the first time this really landed for me was after my marriage ended, and my husband had been very abusive. And I woke up one day and I went, whoa, I'm responsible for that marriage. I'm not responsible for his behavior, but I am responsible for being in the room. I'm responsible for being there. And because I took responsibility, what that did was that empowered me to take a look at what is it that I'm doing or being or behaving that would allow me to attract into my life someone who would be so unkind. So it was a little painful digging, you know, finding the ways in which I felt fearful, finding the ways I felt unlovable, and just looking at those things and going, this I can change. This I can change. So the last thing, of course, is thou shalt awaken. And this is part of the journey to really wake up to the fact that there is only one thing going on. Wake up to the idea that there is a power in the universe that permeates all life everywhere. When we start to wake up to that, what happens is it sort of rewires things for us, because if I believe there's only one thing going on, then that means I'm a part of it. And if I'm a part of it and it is powerful, I therefore must be powerful. So we begin to reframe how we look at life and the world. It's time to wake up. And we wake up by paying attention, by being loving, by acknowledging, taking responsibility when we make a mistake or we do something wrong, or we do something that someone else views as wrong, and we sit with it and we make a decision about it. In the book, he shares a quote from Albert Einstein. Einstein said, a human being is part of the whole, which we call universe, a part limited in time and space. We experience ourselves, our thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of our consciousness. This delusion is kind of a prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Wow. There's a little something to consider. Freeing ourselves from the prison by widening our circle of compassion. We're on a journey together. Yeah. And as we acknowledge that and live with that and begin to really embrace the idea of oneness, in that moment, we begin to create a world that is powerful, positive, productive, and beautiful. And it means changing the way we do things. We must go from a me society to a we society. We must acknowledge that each one of us has value. And maybe we don't see it yet, but maybe we just need to look. We want to make sure that every person is included, every person matters, and that when we don't understand, because there's so much we don't know, right? And we don't know all that we don't know, but there's great ways to find out information. Go to the Google, as my husband would say, or pick up a book. You know, reading this book, Birthing the Nation of Gaia, powerful, powerful book. I just read one a little while ago called The Spirit of Intimacy. Powerful book. A whole new way of looking at relationships and people in the way we interact. He is, we're in this together. And what I love most about this teaching is what we discover is that we are powerful and that it is our thinking that causes our experiences. If I name it bad, I get to have a negative experience. If I name it good, that changes the game. So how I view life matters. How I choose to participate in life matters. Birthing a mature human society. Great possibility. Let us go into meditation. And in this meditation, I just invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable. And just to rest your hands in your lap, placing your feet on the floor, and taking a deep breath in. Just allow your body to relax. Allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. And I want you to imagine all of the people that are on the planet. Just imagine the globe and just see it dotted with millions and millions and millions of people. Billions of people. And imagine that every single person is connected to every other one. It's like there's this cord that runs from one to the next. Everybody linked. And even more important, we're also linked to every tree, every blade of grass, the rays of the sun, the air that we breathe, the water that we swim in. We're connected to all of it. It's like there's this giant sphere with a beating heart. And we are that heart. It is in seeing all of us as connected that we begin to see the value of compassion, collaboration, community, and the bond that keeps it all moving is love. The ideas of peace and compassion come from the heart of love as natural expressions of the divine.